Hey there guys, I'm Jesse Crowe, the traveling scientist, and today we're looking at LSD or acid, answering 3 key questions. How does it work in the body? Is it safe to use? And what to do if you have too much? Lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD, is a psychedelic drug that resembles serotonin. So normally I don't like to get bogged down in the history of science, but the discovery of LSD is actually really cool. Check out this story. So in 1943, a scientist called Albert Hofmann was actually working on the compound, and he got a little bit on his skin. He started to feel funny, so he went home early and he experienced some weird images, and he just felt bizarre. So he went back to work a few days later, and what do you think he did? He tried the drug again. He just administered the drug to himself and started to experience all these crazy hallucinations. He went for a bike ride, he was speaking incoherently, he was seeing all these bizarre things, and he got it all written down, and that's how LSD was discovered. Cool, right? Anyway, LSD works because it's an agonist or an activator of the serotonin receptors in your brain. As your neurons are rapidly firing under the influence of LSD, certain areas of your brain actually become less active, and that seems a bit surprising, but it really makes sense. See, your thalamus and your prefrontal cortex are like information integration centers of your brain. With reduced information management, signals flow through your brain less organized, producing a trip in the user, and as a result, you can feel some pretty interesting and unusual experiences. You have a really distorted sense of time. Minutes can seem like hours, and vice versa. You can have delusions and hallucinations. You're probably going to see some crazy shit. You have intensified senses, like lights and sounds are really amplified. You might also experience synesthesia, which is like a crossing over of the senses, like when you can taste colors or see sounds or something like that. And you'll have a sense of like a mystical experience. Basically, LSD alters your perceptions of reality, and the effects are going to be dependent on the user's expectations as well as their environment. So a chilled out person with some really close friends is probably going to have a really good time, while an unsupervised anxious person might have a panic attack and a really bad trip. Fun fact, the D in LSD, diethylamide, comes from ergot fungus, which can cause hallucinations if eaten. And it's believed that during the witch hunts of the 17th century, ergot fungus infected grain fields, leading to contaminated food and causing people to hallucinate and see crazy things, which they assumed were the doing of witches. Some of the side effects of LSD include sweating, nausea, blurred vision, increased heart rate, and increased body temperature. And most of this is caused by the unusual activity that's going on in your brain. And your brain controls your body, so what are you going to do? On the upside, LSD isn't really an addictive drug. People don't usually crave this drug, and there's no withdrawal symptoms if you don't use it. However, if you do use LSD several times, you'll start to build up a tolerance to this drug, meaning you'll need to use more of it to have the same effects. But if you stop using LSD, your tolerance will go away over time. It's also important to know that people who are genetically predisposed to suffer from mental illness could suffer a psychosis when they're using LSD, which could persist after the drug has gone from your body. So if you have a family history of depression or craziness, then LSD could do you some serious damage. The other thing to remember is that because LSD is an illicit drug, it's not regulated, and so it's really hard to know the exact concentration of the drug that you're using. And because LSD is so potent, even 1 microgram, and that's 1/1000th of a gram, can change its effect on you. So it's important to be careful with how much of this drug you take so you don't have some serious side effects. If you have too much LSD, you might start to feel anxious, paranoid, and you might start to act really dangerously. If someone you know is using LSD and having a bad trip, the best thing you can do is take them to a calm, safe space, talk them through it, and offer them mental support. And if this is not an option, then you should seek emergency medical treatment, which can help prevent dangerous behavior and even suicide. Because when people are freaking out and they're paranoid, seeing crazy hallucinations, they're going to do some crazy shit. For more information on psychedelic drugs like LSD, check out tripsafe.org. It's a really great website with lots of useful information. Unfortunately, like with most illicit drugs, there is not a substantial body of research around LSD, and hopefully in the future more research can be done so that people can access information about how to use this kind of drug safely. That's all for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it and you learned something. If you did, click the like button now, and let me know if you have any questions or comments about LSD in the comments section down below. Finally, make sure you subscribe for more traveling science every week. Next week's video is going to be all about cocaine and how that works in the body. Anyway, you guys have an awesome week, and I'll see you next Science Sunday. Cheers.